The day HR fired me, the entire executive floor was laughing. Until the CFO realized the only copy of the last 3 years of financials was in my desk drawer. The IT department discovered the main server password was my birthday. The CEO got a call from our biggest client. If Leo Hayes is gone, the deal's off. Now a new plaque sits on my desk. In no T for SALE. Meanwhile, Derek Grant is down in the lobby, crying into a cardboard box. If they laughed any louder, the bosses might notice me. Leo Hayes, the lowest-ranking employee in the company. My ID badge doesn't even have a job title. Every morning at 9 sharp, I shuffle through the main doors in my slides. Gus, the security guard, gives me a wide grin. Leo, my man, the time clock's on the fritz again, but I punched you in. I wave a dismissive hand. Don't worry, I fixed it. Gus blinks. He turns around. The keycard scanner, which was black a second ago, is suddenly lit up. My name flashes across the screen. Time, 8:59 a.m. What the hell? When did you do that? Walked by, held down the power button. Gus was speechless. The marketing department was in full-blown panic mode today. Sarah Jenkins, our department head, was tearing into an intern. Apex Dynamics' annual growth rate is 12.7%, not 17. 2. Who taught you math? A gym coach. The intern was trembling, clutching a folder so hard his knuckles were white. I strolled over, pulling a bag of flamin' hot Cheetos from my pocket, ready to enjoy the show. Sarah spun around, and her eyes lit up when she saw me. Leo, get over here. I crunched on a Cheeto. What's up? The Apex proposal is a mess. The client will be here in half an hour. You have to look at this. I glanced at the monitor. 3 minutes later, I tossed a USB drive on her desk. Fixed. Sarah's eyes went wide. That fast. By the way, there's a poison pill in the payment terms on page 3. I'd recommend adding a late fee clause. Sarah frantically flipped through the contract and found the loophole. Her expression morphed from rage to elation. Holy crap. How did you even see that? I shrugged. They screwed over another firm with the same trick last year. I made a note of it. The entire marketing department stared at me like I just turned water into wine. Derek Grant from HR walked past, his suit perfectly pressed, his shoes gleaming. The picture of corporate polish. He caught sight of me, leg crossed on my desk, eating Cheetos. His face clouded over. Leo, this is a place of business, not your living room. I licked the red dust off my fingers. Derek, your tie's crooked. He looked down, fumbling to straighten it. I added, oh, and your fly is down. Derek froze. He spun around and power walked away as the entire marketing team choked back laughter. 10 minutes later, the receptionist burst in. Leo, the people from Apex are here early. In the conference room, Derek was all smiles, greeting the client. Ms. Reed, welcome, welcome. We've prepared a detailed proposal for you. The client, a woman with sharp glasses, cut him off. Is Leo Hayes here? Derek's smile froze. Excuse me. The woman frowned. There was a problem with the technical parameters he coordinated with our IT department last time. We need to confirm them with him in person. I ambled through the door, a half-eaten Cheeto still hanging from my lips. Derek's face turned green. The woman's face, however, lit up. Leo, there you are. I wiped my hands on my jeans and grinned. Ms. Reed, how's that mango allergy? I made sure there was no fruit platter this time. The room went silent. Derek looked like his brain had just blue-screened. Half an hour later, the contract was signed, and the client left happy. Sarah clapped me on the shoulder. Kid, what else are you hiding? I yawned. Tired. Gonna take a nap. I slumped into my chair and was out in seconds. From a distance, Derek Grant stared at me, his eyes cold. In his hand, he clutched an employee evaluation form. My name was followed by a long line of red X's. I cracked open one eye, glanced at him, then rolled over and went back to sleep. Everyone in this company thinks I'm a slacker. What they don't know is, without me, they wouldn't even have a company to slack off in. I was dozing in my desk when the office suddenly erupted. Holy crap, the internet's down. I didn't save my file. Where's IT? Get someone in here. The whole floor was chaos, a symphony of frantic keyboard mashing. Kyle from IT, sweating bullets, ran in with a walkie-talkie. There's a problem in the server room. Everyone stay calm. Calm my ass. I slowly stood up, stretched, and shuffled toward the server room. Dave, the head of IT, was on his knees in front of a server rack, frantically typing commands, his face pale. It's over, it's all over. I crouched down and pulled a chewed-up cable from behind the rack. Rats. Dave snapped his head up, looking at me like I was the Messiah. Leo, you know how to fix this? I rolled my eyes. I took a lighter from my pocket, burned off the plastic sheathing, and twisted the copper wires together in a few quick movements. Try it now. With a trembling hand, Dave plugged the Ethernet cable back in. Ping! Every computer in the company reconnected to the network simultaneously. A roar of cheers erupted from the office. Dave grabbed my hand, his eyes shining with tears. "Leo, you're a lifesaver." I shook him off. $200. Dave blinked. Question mark. Repair fee. He Venmo'd me without another word. I'd barely gone back to my desk when Mark, the CFO, sidled up to my desk looking shifty. "Leo, my boy, could you help me with something?" I didn't even look up from my game. "Nope." He held out a thick stack of papers. "Last year's tax filings have some issues. The IRS is coming to audit next week." I kept playing my game. "Not my problem." Mark gritted his teeth. 500. I paused my game and held out my hand. He meekly handed over the files. 10 minutes later, I tossed the corrected report back at him. "The numbers on page 3 and page 7 don't match. You cooking the books on purpose?" Mark's face went white. "You? How did you know?" I pointed at the screen. "Your formula was wrong. You missed a sum function." His knees buckled, and he almost fell over. "Please, don't tell anyone about this." I shrugged. "Make it an even 1,000. Crying, Mark sent me another 500. During the afternoon all-hands meeting, Derek Grant held up a layoff list, smiling like the cat that ate the canary. "In accordance with our new corporate strategy, the following personnel will be optimized." The room was dead silent. I was busy on my phone, not paying attention. John Smith, Jane Doe, Michael Brown. He was 10 names in when Mr. Roberts, the CEO, suddenly interrupted. "We can't let Kyle from IT go. He just fixed the entire network." Kyle looked utterly bewildered. "Huh, it wasn't me. It was Mr. Roberts cut him off." "Next department." Derek's face went green. He shot me a venomous glare. I gave him a finger, under the table, of course. Right before closing time, the company landed a huge new client. They want a custom software system, but we've never built anything like this. Sarah was pacing, on the verge of a meltdown. I yawned, casually clicked open the company's internal server, and navigated to a dusty folder from 3 years ago. "Here's a similar project. Just tweak this, and it'll work." Sarah stared, wide-eyed. Is this from the old CTO?" I nodded. I backed it up before he left. The entire marketing department was looking at me differently again. Derek Grant stood at the entrance to the office, staring at me with a grim expression. I knew what he was thinking. What else is this punk hiding? I flashed him a wide, greasy grin, and, maintaining eye contact, popped the last flamin' hot Cheeto into my mouth. At 9:30 a.m., I strolled into the office carrying a messy burrito bowl. The receptionist shot me a panicked look. "Leo, Sarah's looking for you." Apex Dynamics changed the requirements. The marketing department was a sea of despair. Sarah was clutching her hair like she was about to go bald. "The client wants to add a smart analytics module at the last minute. They need a proposal by the end of the day." I slurped up a mouthful of rice and beans. "Did they up the budget?" "Huh, if they didn't up the budget, we're not changing a damn thing." I turned to leave. Sarah grabbed my arm. "They did. They doubled it." I put down my burrito bowl, pulled a crumpled takeout receipt from my pocket, and scrawled 5 lines of code on the back. "Here you go." Sarah's hands were shaking. This is it. Have IT implement this API call. Tell them not to touch a single character of what I wrote." I added, "And tell them if they change so much as a semicolon and the system crashes, don't come crying to me." 10 minutes later, Dave, the head of IT, came over and personally bowed to me. At lunch, I was in the break room playing Call of Duty, mobile on my phone, with the volume cranked up. Derek Grant stormed in like he'd smelled a fart in an elevator. "Leo, this is a workplace." I didn't look up. "It's my lunch break. You're disturbing your colleagues." I glanced around. 3 co-workers were watching me play, and 2 others were handing me snacks. They seemed pretty entertained to me. Derek's face turned beet red. He lunged for my phone. I sidestepped him just as the Pinnacle announcement blared from my phone speaker. "Victory!" My audience erupted in applause. Derek looked like he was about to spontaneously combust. "I'm writing you up for a major infraction." I slapped a piece of paper on the table. My timesheet for the 36 hours of overtime I worked last month. "I haven't taken the comp time yet." He snatched it up and saw the CEO's signature at the bottom. That afternoon, Mr. Roberts, the CEO, summoned me to his office. The AC was cranked so high it felt like a morgue. "Leo, my boy, Mr. Roberts said, rubbing his hands together. "HQ wants us to bid on the new Smart City Development project. I hear your old company worked on something similar." I leaned back, crossing my legs. "We did. It was a spectacular failure. The client specifically requested you be on the team. Not interested." Mr. Roberts slid a thick envelope across the desk. "Project bonus." I glanced at the thickness. "At least $5,000. You'll have to do better than that." He slid another envelope over. And I'm taking tomorrow off. Fine. I just got back to my desk when Liam, a new guy from IT, ran over crying, Leo, I think I just deleted the entire customer database. The whole IT department looked like they'd seen a ghost. Dave's voice trembled. What about the backup? The backup server crashed yesterday. Every single person turned to look at me. I sighed, pulling a USB drive off my keychain. Here's last week's backup. It'll have to do. Dave dropped to his knees. My Lord and Savior. When did you even back this up? Right around the time you guys were all chanting the database is too secure. It'll never get wiped. The entire IT department bowed in unison. As I was leaving, Derek blocked me at the elevator. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because Roberts has your back. I pressed the call button. Derek, your fly's down again. He instinctively looked down, and I squeezed past him into the elevator. Just before the doors closed, I added for real this time. The entire office saw him fumbling with his zipper. A message popped up in the company-wide Slack channel, tagging it here. THIS Saturday. Mandatory team building event. Hill Country Resort. Attendance is required. Derek Grant. I was about to type can't make it when a DM from Mark, the CFO, appeared. Leo, you really have to go this time. Derek said he's going to make an example out of someone. I replied with a single. He messaged back instantly. He said he's cracking down on discipline. You're first on his list. I screenshotted the chat and forwarded it to Mr. Roberts with a note. Can't make Saturday. I have a golf game scheduled with Ms. Reed from Apex Dynamics. 3 minutes later, Derek posted a follow-up in the channel. Employees with critical client-facing responsibilities may be excused. The whole company spent the rest of the day guessing who the excused employee was. I showed up on Saturday anyway, because Sarah told me the company was expensing up to $5,000 in drinks. I just pushed my client meeting to Sunday. At the resort's banquet hall, the sales guys were bragging about their numbers. Derek Grant strutted around with a glass of red wine like a peacock in mating season. Our growth rate this year. I walked right past him, went up to the bar, and rapped on the counter. Tequila, vodka, lime juice. 3-to-1 ratio. On the rocks. The bartender looked confused. I rolled up my sleeves. Move. I'll show you. 5 minutes later, the head of sales, an older guy named Lou, sidled up. What's this? It's called the Haymaker, I said, sliding a glass toward him. Dare you? He downed in one go, then threw an arm around my shoulder. Kid, from this day forward, you're my brother. 2 hours later, every single executive in the company was crowded around my bar. Derek stood alone in the corner, his face as black as burnt toast. On the bus ride back, Sarah slid into the seat next to me. Watch out for Derek, she whispered. He's the one who forced out Old Man Johnson from procurement last month. I took a bite of the free apple from the retreat. Not my problem. After Johnson left, every single one of his suppliers cut us off. The company lost $2 million, Sarah said, looking at me pointedly. The clients you manage are worth 10 times that. I tossed the apple core perfectly into a trash bag. Let him try. First thing Monday morning, Derek stormed my office with 2 security guards in tow. Routine inspection. We've had a report that you installed unauthorized monitoring software on your machine. I slowly pulled out my phone and opened the company's IT security authorization form, signed by Mr. Roberts, responsible for the security maintenance of all company electronic devices, I said, pointing to the fine print at the bottom, including but not limited to the installation of monitoring software, backup protocols, and remote access. Derek's hand was shaking. This isn't proper procedure. Right in front of him, I pulled up the server's access log from last week. Oh, and was your visit to the coffee shop across from our competitor's headquarters at 8 p.m. last Wednesday proper procedure? His face went completely white. When Ms. Reed from Apex Dynamics stormed into the office, the entire marketing department just about had a collective heart attack. Who wrote this proposal? The sound of her slamming the folder on the table was like a firecracker going off. These numbers are a joke. Sarah Jenkins shakily picked up the document. Then her face went pale. This isn't Leo's version. I was leaning back in my chair, playing solitaire on my phone. I glanced up. Oh, that version? Yeah, I threw that in the recycling bin last week. Derek Grant burst out of the conference room. Leo, what is this garbage you submitted? Ms. Reed looked from him to me. And you are? Derek froze. I slowly sat up. Evelyn, check the bottom right corner of page 3. There's a watermark. She flipped to the page and held it up to the light. It read, Drafty, Grant 12, 15, 2023 inch. You could have heard a pin drop. Derek's face was glowing green. That's. I opened the recycling bin on my desktop and restored the correct file. Looks like someone went through my computer while I was on my day off and swapped the files. Ms. Reed let out a cold laugh and turned to Derek. Consider yourself blacklisted by Apex Dynamics. During my lunch break, I discovered all my work accounts have been frozen. Kyle from IT secretly DM'd me on Slack. Derek said you were leaking company secrets. I made one phone call to the CTO of Apex Dynamics. 5 minutes later, an email landed in every employee's inbox. RE, partnership with Innovate Solutions. Moving forward, our firm will only accept documents and proposals handled directly by Mr. Leo Hayes, Apex Dynamics, Technology Division. When Mr. Roberts came to my desk personally to unfreeze my accounts, his hand was shaking. Leo, about this. I cut him off. I want a written apology from Derek. Mr. Roberts walked away, wiping sweat from his brow. That afternoon, the company announced a major organizational restructuring. Derek Grant was promoted to vice president, in charge of HR and administration. At the all-hands meeting, the prick stood on stage, puffed up like a toad, and announced, moving forward, to streamline our workflow, all official documents must be reviewed and approved by me. After the meeting, Sarah came to me, her eyes red. He reassigned my biggest client account to his nephew. I opened my laptop and pulled up an encrypted file. Here are all your clients' personal cell numbers and email addresses. They aren't in the company CRM. She took the USB drive like it was the Holy Grail, then leaned in close. Mr. Roberts has to go to the headquarters next week for a performance review. Derek will be acting CEO. I whistled. Interesting. Working late that night, I saw Derek lead a team from IT into my office. The next morning, every single project file on my computer had been corrupted into gibberish. Dave from IT was practically tearing his hair out. The backup server is down too. Derek strolled over, dripping with false sympathy. Leo, I heard you lost your files. Such a shame. So careless. I looked him dead in the eye, logged into my personal Dropbox, and started downloading all 300 gigabytes of project data back onto my local drive. Surprise, asshole. His face looked like he'd just swallowed a cockroach. As I was leaving for the day, the company's email server exploded. A major client, Mr. Wong, had emailed everyone. Who is this new idiot you've assigned to my account? He doesn't even know how to fill out a contract. Whistling, I packed my bag. Derek stormed over, roaring, "Did you do this?" I pulled out a small notebook. Mr. Wong prefers premium single malt scotch, hates when people send him voice memos, and all contracts must be in 12-point Times New Roman. The entire office was trying so hard not to laugh, they were turning purple. As Derek stormed out, I called after him, "Oh, by the way, his executive assistant is his sister-in-law. You probably shouldn't have called her the coffee girl." From the hallway, there was a loud thud. My phone blew up at 3 a.m. Over 20 unread texts, all from Sarah. Mr. Roberts was recalled to HQ for an emergency meeting. I heard they're investigating some accounting irregularities. Derek is announcing a major shakeup this morning. I texted back K and went back to sleep. The office atmosphere felt like a funeral home. Derek Grant stood by the reception desk, a temporary acting CEO badge pinned to his chest. He saw me walk in, and a smug grin stretched across his face. "Leo, conference room, 9 a.m. sharp." I yawned right in his face. "Can't. Need to catch up on sleep." He lowered his voice. "It's about your termination." I nodded. "Make sure the severance package is generous." The conference room was filled with department heads. Derek was glowing. After a thorough investigation, it has been determined that Leo Hayes has consistently violated company policy. I was playing Candy Crush on my phone with the sound on, playing games during work hours. Sweet. Engaging in unauthorized client contact. Divine. Derek slammed his files on the table. "You're fired. Pack your things and get out." Immediately, I turned off my game and hit the record button on my phone. "Sorry, you were saying I'm fired? Could you repeat that for the record, Mr. Grant?" He wisely shut his mouth. I shrugged and got up to leave. As I was packing my things, Mark, the CFO, slipped me a USB drive. The last 3 months of accounts. There are problems. I glanced out the window. Derek was patrolling the office floor with security guards like a wannabe dictator. He's got his hands in the finances now. Mark was sweating profusely. His nephew is approving all expense reports. I tossed the drive into my bag, taking only my potted cactus. Sarah, her eyes red, helped me carry my box. He's locked down all the client files. I patted her shoulder. "You got my number." The second I walked out the front door, my phone rang. It was Dave from IT, sounding hysterical. "Leo, the system crashed. The entire client database is gone." I took a bite of my breakfast taco. "Not my problem. Derek is ordering you to come back and fix it right now. My consulting fee is $2,000 an hour." Payable in advance. I could hear Derek screaming on the other end of the line. Tell him to go to hell. At 3 p.m., the company-wide Slack channel exploded. The payroll system glitched. Everyone's paycheck is short 80%. The customer service lines are being flooded with angry calls. The production line is down. The inventory database is completely scrambled. I lay on my couch, watching the flood of friend requests and DMs from my former colleagues pour in. Suddenly, a text from an unknown number. This is the chairman's executive assistant. What is the current situation at the company? I replied with a single smiling emoji. Ask your acting CEO. At 8 p.m., my doorbell rang. It was Derek, flanked by 2 security guards. His face was a mask of fury. The company is giving you one last chance. I slammed the door in his face. 3 seconds later, my phone buzzed. Venmo. You received $50,000. Followed by a text. Is that enough? I can add more. R. Roberts. I took a sip of my Coke and slowly typed back. You'll have to do better than that. At 9 a.m., I woke up to my phone vibrating off the nightstand. 37 missed calls, all from Sarah. The last text read, "Leo, help. The company is going to die." I leisurely made myself a bowl of cup noodles and clicked the link to the company's live all-hands meeting. Derek was on stage, practically spitting as he yelled. These system failures are all a result of deliberate sabotage by Leo Hayes. The camera panned across the room. Every single employee's face screamed, "Bullshit." My phone vibrated again. An unknown number. This is the chairman. Answer your phone. The second I picked up, he yelled, "Why did Ms. Reed from Apex Dynamics pull their funding?" I slurped my noodles. Ask Derek. He's the one who assigned his nephew to her account. I heard something smash on the other end of the line. At 10 a.m., the receptionist secretly texted me. Derek is destroying your old workstation. I remotely logged into the office security cameras, clipped a short video, and posted it to my Facebook page with a caption, "Rage of an incompetent." GIF. Underneath, I added, "Thanks for cleaning my desk, Derek." 3 minutes later, Mark, the CFO, commented, "He threw your computer in the dumpster. The USB drive was still in it." I replied, "Don't worry, that USB was a decoy." Mark, "But what about the real books?" I replied, "In my sock drawer." At 11 a.m., a notification popped up in the company Slack, tagging it here, "Urgent. All client data has been lost. Contact Leo Hayes immediately for recovery." Derek Grant. I screenshotted my $50,000 Venmo payment and posted it to Facebook. Consulting fee received, but I'm not in the mood to consult. The Slack channel instantly blew up with over 200 messages. Dave IT Leo, my king. The production line is at a dead stop. Sales director. All our major clients are terminating their contracts. HR assistant. Derek says he'll double your salary. I posted a picture of my cup noodles. My hourly rate is now $40,000. At noon, the doorbell rang again. This time it was Mr. Roberts, flanked by 2 security guards who were holding Derek up by the arms. "Leo, my boy." Mr. Roberts' smile was so wide it looked painful. "The board has decided to reinstate your position." There was a bright red handprint on Derek's cheek. I held up my fork. I want to hear him say it. Derek squeezed 3 words out through gritted teeth. "Please. Cool me." "Back." I slammed the door. "Couldn't hear you." At 2 p.m., a notification popped up from my bank. Incoming wire transfer, $200,000. Memo, technical consulting fees. At the same time, I got a text from the chairman. "Was that loud enough for you?" I opened my laptop. 3 minutes later, I had remotely restored the entire client database. The company's Slack channel became a waterfall of praise. "Hey God, Leo is the GOAT. I love you." Suddenly, Derek posted in the channel, "Leo Hayes must return to the office to complete the handover." I replied with a single smiling emoji. "Yuri fired." Attached was an audio file, a recording of Derek in a coffee shop, saying, "Don't worry, Mr. Wong. As soon as I tank their system, I'll jump ship to your company." At 3 p.m., the live all-hands meeting feed suddenly cut to a new video. The chairman appeared on the big screen. After a thorough investigation, it has been proven that Derek Grant has engaged in corporate espionage. The camera cut to security guards dragging Derek out of the building. There was a large, dark, wet patch on the front of his pants. My phone rang. It was Mr. Roberts. "Leo, my boy, you're our new chief technology officer." I cut him off. "I want to be vice president." "That's the one in charge of HR." There were 3 seconds of silence on the other end. Done. At 6 p.m., I sauntered back into the office to grab my cactus. The entire company gave me a standing ovation. They were changing the nameplate on Derek's old office. A maintenance worker asked me, "What's the new VP's name?" I grabbed a marker and wrote on the blank plaque, Leo Hazenoti for SALE. The first day I came back, the whole company lined up to kiss the ring. At 9 a.m., I shuffled to the front doors of my slides. Gus, the security guard, practically sprinted over. "Mr. Hayes, good morning, sir." I glanced at the brand-new keycard scanner in his hand. "Broken again?" Gus's face crinkled into a huge smile. "No, but a man of your stature requires a personal welcome." The elevator doors opened to the receptionist, giving me a 90-degree bow. "Good morning, Vice President Hayes." Her voice was so loud the entire floor heard it. The office immediately scrambled to its feet. Dave from IT led a round of thunderous applause. "Welcome back, Leo." I wave a hand. "All right, knock it off." Mark, the CFO, scurried over. "Your office is all ready for you." I glanced at the corner office that used to be a glorified supply closet. Now it had a polished brass plate that read, VP, Technology. Derek's old office. I pushed the door open. Sarah was arranging flowers on the desk. I had them set the AC, the espresso machine is brand new, and the chair is ergonomic. I cut her off. "Where's my stuff?" "Huh, my old desk chair. My box of Cheetos." "Where is it?" The entire office exchanged confused glances. 10 minutes later, my squeaky, broken office chair, my paint-chipped desk, and a half-empty case of flamin' hot Cheetos were ceremoniously moved into the VP suite. I sank into my chair with a satisfied sigh. Now that's more like it. I booted up the new computer, and a flood of emails appeared. Urgent. Final contract signing with Apex Dynamics Critical. Production line system failure immediate. Meeting request from the chairman. I selected all of them and hit delete. Sarah's face went white. You can't delete those." I pulled out my phone and dialed Apex. "Evelyn, just sent you the contract. E-sign is fine." I turned and yelled toward the IT bullpen, "Dave, the password to restart the production line is admin 123. Finally, I texted the chairman. 3 p.m. My office. Bring the employment contract. The entire company was dumbfounded. At the afternoon board meeting, the chairman himself poured my tea. "Leo, my boy, about that whole Derek situation." I slid a USB drive across the table. He embezzled $7 million over 3 years. The entire paper trail is on there. The projector flashed a series of documents. One of Derek's expense reports for high-end client entertainment was, in fact, an itemized receipt from a seedy motel. A wave of coughing echoed through the conference room. The chairman's face turned the color of kale juice. How did you find this?" I pointed at the finance server. He forgot to delete the version history. After the meeting, the HR department lined up outside my door for signatures. "Mr. Hayes, this is the new employee attendance policy." I took a pen and crossed it out, writing, "Arriving up to 30 minutes late is not considered tardy. 2. Lunch break is now 2 hours long. 3. Fridays are now. Bring your pet to work day." The head of HR looked like she was about to cry. This is highly irregular." I patted her on the shoulder. "Either get it approved, or I quit right now." She clutched the document to her chest. "I'll go get the official stamp immediately." Before the end of the day, the company's Slack channel went wild. New policy. Flexible work hours are now in effect. New benefit. $500 monthly snack stipend for all teams. Important. It is strictly forbidden to disturb the VP while he is gaming. The channel flooded with custom emojis of my face. All hail, Leo. GIF. I leaned back, munching on a Cheeto, and logged into Call of Duty, mobile on my new computer. A DM from Mr. Roberts popped up. "You free tonight? HQ is trying to poach you." I replied with a custom sticker. "Leo Hayes has rejected your invitation and thrown a bag of flamin' hot Cheetos at you." Monday morning, I walked into the all-hands meeting in my flip-flops. The entire room stood up. "Sit." I wave a hand. 3 things. First, from now on, morning meetings are in the afternoon. I don't get up this early. Second, the cafeteria needs to stock flamin' hot Cheetos. The real ones. Third, anyone who calls me Mr. Hayes gets their pay docked. The head of HR was shaking. "Then, what should we call you?" I flipped open my laptop. "Dad." Dead silence. Dave from IT was the first to raise his hand. "Dad, the server needs an upgrade." I tossed a USB drive at him. Automated maintenance script. "Now don't bother me while I'm gaming." Later, the chairman was giving a tour to a potential investor when they walked past my office and saw me making queso in an electric skillet. "And this is our vice president, Leo." The chairman's smile twitched. The investor, who happened to be Ms. Reed, sat right down and grabbed a chip. "Leo, you always know how to live." The chairman looked like his eyes were about to pop out. You two know each other? Ms. Reed winked. We hammered out the details of our last database migration over a skillet of queso, just like this one. I slid a bowl of salsa toward her. Spicy, just how you like it, right? The chairman made an executive decision on the spot. The cafeteria will have a taco bar starting tomorrow. When the finance department brought me a report to sign, I drew a turtle on it. Leo, the junior accountant stammered, on the verge of tears. I didn't even look up from my screen. Leave it. I'll look at it after the turtle dries. That afternoon, Mark, the CFO, came by himself. He found a new note scribbled on the report. Page 3, accounts payable. The decimal point is in the wrong place. If it happens again, I'm banning your son's 4-night account. Mark enrolled his son in a boarding school that night. At an industry summit, the CEO of our biggest competitor cornered me. Mr. Hayes, have you ever considered a change of scenery? I flashed him my ID badge, and no T for SALE. He persisted. $3 million a year, starting salary. I pointed to our chairman, who was on stage telling a terrible joke. See that old guy? He promised to put me in his will. The next day, it was the top story in a tech blog. Hashtag company VP coerces into amending will. The chairman cheerfully retweeted it. Can confirm. It's already done. Out of the blue, I got an email from Derek Grant. Subject, letter of recommendation. I replied with a single meme. A picture of a key with the text, do I look like a locksmith? He actually replied, yes. I wrote back, how many copies do you need? The email was marked as read, but he never replied. At the end of year party, the chairman, completely drunk, threw his arm around my shoulders. Be honest with me, son. How much blackmail material do you actually have on us? I showed him my phone's photo gallery. It was filled with pictures of every executive in the company drooling in their sleep during their lunch naps. The chairman breathed a sigh of relief. Is that all? I opened my Dropbox. Folder name, 3. 2 terabytes of corporate secrets. He sobered up instantly. Now, everyone in the company knows the rules. When I'm gaming, a 5-meter-wide no-go zone forms around my desk. When I'm napping, the receptionist hangs a do not disturb sign on my office door. My expense reports for Cheetos get instant approval from finance. Oh, and they gave me a new ID badge, Leo Hayes title, the patriarch in OT for SALE. The moment I propped my feet up on my desk, the receptionist burst in. Dad, some suit from HQ is here. He's an efficiency expert. I didn't even open my eyes. Oh yeah? What's he want? He's some Ivy League hotshot, here to whip the branch office into shape. I slurped the last of my ramen. Tell him to wait. I'm in the middle of a match. In the main conference room sat a guy with slick back hair and a gold-plated laptop. I'm Kevin, Senior Operations Director from Corporate. I'm an MIT graduate, and my previous post was at. I yawned. Get to the point. His face stiffened. Headquarters has concerns about this office's management style. I pulled out my phone and, right in front of him, called the chairman. Hey, old man, you send this clown? The chairman's nervous cough crackled over the speakerphone. Leo, my boy, it was a board decision. I left on speaker. So, should I just quit now? A chorus of voices immediately rose from around the conference room. And oh, Dad, don't leave US. Kevin's glasses slid down his nose. At lunch, Kevin sat across from me in the cafeteria with his sad little salad. Mr. Hayes, I believe I'm more structured. I pushed a bag of flamin' hot Cheetos toward him. Eat. He looked horrified. This kind of processed junk food is. Just then, Mark, the CFO, sprinted over. Dad, the IRS is here for a surprise audit. I didn't look up. Third filing cabinet from the left. Yellow folder. 5 minutes later, Mark texted me. All clear. When the hell did you prepare 3 different sets of books? Kevin's fork clattered onto his tray. That night, I was working late and found Kevin hiding in the stairwell, secretly eating Cheetos. They're surprisingly flavorful, he mumbled, wiping red dust from his mouth. I tossed him a whole case. Don't eat the generic brand. Have some self-respect. The next morning, he voluntarily sat in the back row at the meeting. At the end of month review, the corporate board was on a video call. Kevin, what's the status of the restructuring? The whole office held its breath. Kevin pushed up his glasses. After a comprehensive, on-the-ground analysis, he suddenly slammed a bag of flamin' hot Cheetos on the table. I'm formally requesting a transfer to this branch. On the screen, the chairman did a spit take with his tea. Now, there's a new sign hanging at the reception desk. Beware of DOG. We mean LEO. And my ID badge has been updated one last time. Leo Hayes title. The founding father in OT for sale and not going public. The end.